And welcome back. Let's go ahead and get ready to continue working with our game. We're going to specifically focus, though, on this case, our level layout. And so I'm on my starting level here. And so I'm just going to go ahead, wheel this around here just a little bit so we can kind of get back to looking at our starting configuration. And one of the things I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to set up different pieces. So, of course, I created this crate short here to act as kind of like almost like a sci-fi kind of type wall here. And so what I'm going to do here is, because I made this quite big, I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate that. And I'm going to then use this to act as the rest of my wall here. So I can then just bring this forward in the X direction. I'm going to just rotate this camera around just to make it a little bit easier. So I can just bring this forward. And you notice right now this is very narrow. And so I could, of course, stretch it out this way. And so if I were to do that, I say, hey, you know, I want to stretch this out in the Z direction. And so I can get this kind of view here. So I could have more of this view along the side here. Or the other thing I could do is, because I have just effectively a box here, I could just rotate this. And so, for example, if I rotate this in the X direction, you can see we can make it into a nice floor. If we do in the Y direction, we can get a nice wall. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that into the Y direction here. And let's just bring that back. I'm going to actually connect that in such a way so that way that makes that. And then I'm just going to duplicate that one more time. And let's just bring that on over to mirror to the other side here. And just bring it over just a little bit more. It's okay if it clips my ground just a little bit, because I'm just setting this up as an environment. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time just to go ahead and act as my ceiling. So remember, before we had the X, which was flat, so I can go ahead and reset that there. So let me go ahead, bring this one on up. And you can see this one's a little further back here, so I want to bring this on over. So let me just rotate the camera around here. And of course, it's going to create some shadow here, but we can address that later with some proper lighting and stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and just set that in place. And so now we have effectively created a box. So we have a ceiling here. We got some walls. So let me just go ahead and test this real quick. And so you can see I now have my walls there. So it kind of looks like I'm in a giant chamber here. And if I go all the way up, I should see, of course, the ceiling there. If I crash in that, oh, I did pass through that. So that means I need to double check on this. See if I have any collision. Oh, it's because I turned off the box collider here. So let me just go ahead and apply that. Forgot I had shut that off. So with that on, let's try this again. All right, so we are colliding again, so that is great. And I accidentally shut off my colliders there. But, all right, so we, of course, now have that working. This is a nice, quick level layout for my starting level configuration. But I'm going to want to, of course, apply this to other levels. I'm going to go in here. Now, for this particular things, I'm going to go ahead and drag those as part of my environment here. And what I'm going to do here is, because I have created mine in such a way where this is all the same, I'm actually going to just copy these here. And I'm just going to go over to my other scenes real quick. So let's go to my other scenes. So let's go, this was my starting level, go to my ceiling level. I'm going to then just paste in the scenes here for those crates. Let me add those to the environment. So as part of that. And again, that's just automatically going to add that same thing in here. Now you might have different things. So for example, if you had made your floor bigger or smaller or stuff like that, you can do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Click save, go to my environment, paste it in. And of course, this is given the artificial ceiling. So I might be able to come in here and, for example, remove this one, because this one is much more artificial. But just for now, I'm just adding these in real quick. And I'll do this also here for the pass between level, just so, again, we can add those in there. And again, I can come through later and edit this and clean it up and change how these levels might lay out. But just for now, just to add a basic ceiling and floor, that's what I've gone ahead and done. All right, and just for now, to help with some of my collision issues, I've gone ahead and commented out this debug key here. So if the C key is pressed, I've commented this out. I'm also going to go ahead and remove this part here with the can't collide flag. I'm not going to worry about that, so I'm just going to actually cut that out. And I'll just add it back in here as a comment, just so I don't forget that it exists here. Oh, I forgot the OR part there. I need to make sure I put that back in there, just so that I can remember that this part was removed. In fact, I'm just going to make a little note here. So I'll say removed for collision. And since I'm not using this Boolean right now, I'm also going to comment that out, but I'll leave it here just in case if later I do want to come through and test that, I still have that option to be able to do so. And so let's go ahead and test one more time. I'm going to go all the way up. I'm just going to go straight up this time. All right. See if we get any collisions triggering here. I didn't quite trigger, so I might need to check something else here with my individual settings. So let's just try to run this one more time here. I'm just going to let it drive forward. All right, that worked. All right, let's try going straight up this time. All right, that worked. It might have just been something that was cached then, so looks like that's working there. So again, I'm just going to shut that off just because I don't want that in the way. Now, obviously, you can choose different environments. In fact, I challenge you to really create yours. Some really cool things here. So, for example, there's this palette here. If I want to throw that into my game world here, just so you can see that, I could use this as a potential thing that I could use to help make this a little more interesting. Or if I look at this ductwork, since I'm doing a cool sci-fi thing, let me just drag this ductwork in here. I could use this in here. I can use it to really kind of spruce this scene up here. So if I maybe, for example, want to, let's just rotate this thing around. Let's just make it 90 degrees here on the X and on the Y. Looks great. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's move that on up. Actually, let's scale that first a little bit. I'm going to scale that. Let's just make that, let's just go 10 by 10. All right. And so if we come back into our scene world here, we've now created this very large object. Maybe not that large. Let's just make it more like 5 by 5. All right, that's a little bit more manageable. All right. And so if we look at it, I'm just going to bring it here into the game world so you can see it. It's something I can use to enhance the game environment. So for example, I might say, I want to use this to maybe use this as a starting position for the player, or an ending thing. So I'm going to actually drag this on over to the ending here of my starting level. And I'm going to drag this so that way it's actually behind my platform and make it look like it's actually part of the wall. All right, so that way when I take my player here and I fly them across, you can see they now have a little bit more of a game environment piece in there. And so what I want you to do is go ahead, take your opportunity to go through these various different props and stuff that you've imported. Spruce up your levels. I'm not going to go through and do minus bunch because I want to keep this focused for learning purposes. But I want you to go ahead, start sprucing up your scene, add a couple of different things here, and let's see what you come up with.